Hello and welcome back to the U Up podcast. I'm Jordana Abraham.
And I am Jared Freed. It is so good to be here with you, Jordana. Virtually, we are doing a virtual taping because I decided to go down to Boca and visit with the family.
You say that like it's spring break. Woohoo! But it's not.
Woo! We're having all the depends.
Is there a wet t-shirt contest?
Wet t-shirt contest. That's right. Shots of tequila, shots of body shots. It's all happening down in Boca. I came because it's my brother got engaged on Sunday.
We need to talk about that.
Yes,
100%. But we also wanted to talk about it's Maddie's birthday coming up. And so we have, in case you're wondering, what is this third square rectangle?
Right.
On the YouTube page. Is this your first visualization of Maddie?
I think so. I don't know if I've ever made the camera shot before.
Well, this is our gift to you for your birthday.
Thank
Don't
you.
expect more.
I'm honored.
We
My mom is going to be thrilled. She'll be so happy.
don't expect a gift card to Dante.
No. So we wanted to wish you a happy birthday, and you're spending it's the birthday weekend, and I said this before we started taping. It feels like when you're turning 25. When you turn 25, I feel like that every weekend is someone's birthday. Jordana, do you agree or disagree?
Yes, definitely agree. I think I remember joking with someone around that age that we should open a bar and call it Some Girl's Birthday. Right.
Right.
Because
every plan
everyone wants to go out too, and so you'd be like, oh, is someone, and then someone would be like, oh, this person's having their birthday at this bar, so you knew there'd be people there.
Right. It gave a reason for it. Yeah, it's some chick's birthday, some girl's birthday, some guy's having a birthday. And it wasn't like you got every birthday didn't mean tables and bottle service. It just meant just like what you said. Like it's a place people will be who are young and like-minded and and looking to go out.
So where's your birthday?
That's a great question. I could be using the Some Girl's Birthday bar because I don't even know yet. So my boyfriend's in charge of planning it. So we'll see how
why you don't know yet.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he took over because I was doing a bad job. In his defense, I said I would do it and then did not. So
what do you know so far? The boyfriend planned birthday. You guys will probably be drinking from a 40 in the alley.
yeah. Exactly.
25, yeah.
There's a dinner reservation. We're doing dinner the day before, and then some of my camp friends are coming to town. So that's very exciting.
Oh.
Yes. So we've got dinner plans with them. And
That's very funny.
The bar.
Also, not to interrupt, but the tagline for the bar, Some Girl's Birthday, was supposed to be where everybody knows your camp friend's name.
Yes. That's literally what I need for Friday. I have we haven't figured it out at all yet. I wish you could go back in time and actually invent it.
I mean, Maddie is full of surprises all the time. Maddie from New Orleans has camp friends. I am blown away.
Yes. There's summer camp culture, also a big thing in Texas, and I went to camp in Texas. So
wow.
Yeah. Who would have known?
Excuse my ignorance.
Yeah, I mean it's not as big as in Louisiana, so I didn't really know until I was dropped off there one day.
So where's the dinner reservation made by the 25-year-old boyfriend?
Dinner reservation is at Pineapple Club. I haven't been there. I don't think he's been there either, but we've heard from friends that it's fun. That's the
Jordana, any thoughts?
It sounds familiar. I feel like I've heard of. Is this newish?
It's in East Village. I think it's new-ish. Not 100% sure about that.
Okay. I feel like I've heard a young TikToker scream at me about it.
That's probably accurate.
You've got to go to Pineapple Club. Yeah.
Yes. That's probably the energy, but good birthday energy at least.
Okay. How are you feeling about turning 25? Do you feel like you thought you did everything you thought you would do by this point?
I feel pretty good about it. It hasn't really hit me yet, as it probably won't until I'm 25 and a half, and then I'll start saying 25 instead of being 24. I don't know. So we'll see. I did. I was telling you guys earlier, my mom sent a cake to the office, so I did already cry pre-birthday. Got that out of the way early, so we're good on that front at least.
We love it. It's so sweet. We know your mom's a fan, so we're happy she got the gift of seeing you on YouTube.
Yes.
Which all of you can do. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel and see Maddie right now.
IRL.
And IRL, right? That's right. And so we have the birthday dinner, the camp friend dinner, and then a bar to be TBD.
Bar TBD. There's a calendar invite with absolutely no information on it. That's all we got.
Okay.
That's the most 25-year-old thing I've ever heard in my entire life, and we wish you the best.
Well, I just have one more question as it pertains
Sure.
to relationships. At 25, in a relationship, you've been in a relationship for like a few years at this point, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what, because I've never been in a relationship at 25. What do you feel like high expectations for like things being done for your birthday at 25 on like around a present or a dinner or whatever? Like, what's it like to be like in a comfy long-term relationship at this age for your birthday?
I honestly didn't know where that question was going. I was like, oh gosh, this is where she puts the pressure on.
When's the engagement?
That's not what I meant. I don't think this is New York, not
Right.
Louisiana.
Yeah, thank God.
You're chilling.
Thank God. I'm like you, Jordana. I like a card. That's really the only thing I have ever asked for or expected and I think you saying that you asked for cards, like I probably copied that move at some point or another. So.
I love that.
I was about to say it's too bad for him this comes out after the birthday.
He knows now.
So we're going to find out.
Yeah.
He knows now. So
He's
you've let him know.
yeah.
Okay, good. Jordana taught you right.
Yes, she did. Ask for the
Thank
card
you.
if you want the card, and you'll get the card. And that's
Get
great.
the card.
Right.
The right card.
Yes. With a note. Always with a note.
So honestly, if this boyfriend was like, here's your card, we got dinner, you're good.
I'm good with that. My birthday's right after Christmas too, so I'm kind of like I don't know if I need
It's
another
January
thing.
25th, right after Christmas.
I mean, it's like a month. I don't.
Well, this
Doesn't
is being
bother me too much.
recorded, so
Yeah.
you can't go back now.
Yeah.
Whatever he gets, you'll have to. Now it's on record.
That's
So-
fine with me. Nice dinner and a card that's good. I do enough shopping on my own, so I don't really need any more stuff.
Low maintenance. I love it. This is the key to a
Wow.
good relationship. Low expectations.
Yes,
There it is.
Definitely.
There it is. The
ready
bar
for
is low. Well, happy birthday,
Thank
Maddie.
you.
A very special guest to start our show off.
Yes, love it.
Jordana, should we get into it?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Let's
I mean,
talk it out.
Jared, tell me you're in Boca. I saw
I'm
you.
in Boca.
I saw you at the beach on your Instagram story. You were like, "Can we push the recording till 3?" And I was like, "Oh, I guess he's got something come up." And then I see you at the beach with your mom, and I'm like, immediately extremely jealous.
Well, the thing is, here's how here you get this, like, it's gonna be a beach day, and you're like, okay, today ain't the day, tomorrow is the day. So I was like, I'll check in with, my You Up family to see if we can push it back, and if anyone had anything to say, I'll be like, we can't do the beach. It's okay. So then we got out there, but it took us like 2 hours of my mom screaming at me. I stopped short on the break, which then became, you got a heavy foot. She's talking about me
you're
on
driving.
the phone
Okay.
while I'm driving to someone else. He's got such a heavy foot, and it's like, okay,
But you're
it's
doing the
just a lot.
driving, not her. When did it change from her driving to you driving?
Then she drove home, and that was like, I was sitting there holding for dear life while she texted. There was a moment that she was driving, texting, going through a yellow light over a train track, and I was like, you would be screaming at me right now. Like, what is going on right now? Like, it's so my stress level is high. But the reason I came down here and we're taping remotely is my brother got engaged, and that was the event of the moment. That was really a beautiful thing.
Totally. I saw it online. I saw the video. We were talking about this. Engagements are great for engagement.
Right.
The video killed it, right? They mean,
Video
like,
killed it.
very happy for your brother. Very happy for his fiance. I've never met them before, but I follow them both on. It's kind of funny. I haven't met your brother before because I feel like you've met
Really?
all 900 of my siblings.
That's true.
But I feel like I know them because I follow them on Instagram. So very excited for them.
My brother's fiance is at Ruthie Polinsky. If you want to follow her wedding journey, she's a sportswoman at the NBC station in Miami. So if you're local to Miami, you may know of her or whatever. And she's wonderful and great. And it's funny. Like you just like you said, you have 900 siblings. Like you've grown up with siblings getting engaged and married and every level of the sibling thing. My family, this was like a first for us. Like I am like, this is like a new view of my family unit. And it kind of translates to my brother. My brother was so stressed because the engagement is all a guy really has to plan on his own.
Yeah. You have to plan on your own. Yeah.
You have to plan on your own, but you get like kind of this vague idea of how they'd want it. And like you're given like, I would say a man planning an engagement is like being in an escape room. They're like, here's 3 tools. Good luck. Get out of here. Yeah. And because he knew like he knew she wanted her family there for the big, rah moment, and because she's got 2 younger sisters and she's got very close friends and her parents and all this stuff. And it's funny because my parents think everything's ridiculous. Like my dad especially. He's like, what?
Not so serious, not so terrible. Right.
Right. He's ultra cynical, and he's like, why? There was a point where my brother was like, okay, her family's going to be there, and then you guys are going to be there too. My dad goes, well, do we have to be there? We have to be there too? And I'm like, what are you going to FaceTime in while her family flew in from others?
You live here? Yeah.
Right. You live up the road. Like, it's like my family has no
sentimentality.
That and no like background for this.
Okay.
Like we've been an adult.
Yeah.
Right. We've been an adult family of 4 for a decade now.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Like we're in a certain version of purgatory, like where, and I don't know if I'm using that word wrong, but like we're in this like waiting room to life as a group. And I'm sure like, and this works into being single and being comfy cozy as a single guy myself, because like, we good. We go on vacation, we go to the beach, we have some drinks, like life's pretty fun right now, like.
So is your family mentality like, we have enough family, fuck off? Or are you guys welcome everyone, like come in, we can't wait to welcome the in-laws and we have a new member joining? You're kind of like, sounds like a no.
Well, I would say it's similar to my dating. You better be better than my iPhone. You better be more, like you better
have
bring
something
to the
table.
group.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't, listen, when we do the holidays, like I've said, I think maybe here on I Never Shut the Fuck Up, but like holidays, it's like kind of an open casting call. We have like a bunch of like, the land of, forgotten toys that join us for holidays a lot of times, because we're just like, yeah, fucking come. We're going to do some stuff at the house. There'll be drinks, food, come.
But you guys never separate from each other.
I will. I mean, no, if we got things, if there's better things that we should be doing, like, my brother works during Thanksgiving, so he's not around Thanksgiving.
Right.
His girlfriend or now fiance was there at Thanksgiving with us. Come. Yeah, it'll be great.
Okay. So you are welcoming.
We're welcoming, but like also not like begging anyone to come.
Right. But then there's also a high bar, it sounds like, for like hanging a little bit.
You got to hang. You got to like, you've got to meld into this thing. Right. Right. I mean, I guess, yeah, we aren't really melding our thing into your thing,
Right.
It's
such a different experience is what I'm saying. It makes sense. Like when you're talking about all my siblings, like Mike came to meet my family at like our first Rosh Hashanah. There were like 40 people there. and they're all like
Right.
my siblings and their kids and their husbands. So like no one gave a shit what he was doing.
Right.
He's like, should I bring the kosher wine? I'm like, no one's going to even know that you brought anything. They're just, you're going to put it on the table and no one's going to have any idea who brought what or care.
Right. Right.
Which probably
Well-
is to the opposite side of the spectrum. It'd probably be nice to land somewhere in between our families.
There's somewhere in between
Who
that's
are
probably
you?
the healthy. Yeah, like somewhere between who are you and
Right.
what do you got?
Well,
you know?
Right. I mean, my great aunt at one point thought, my grandmother's sister at one point thought I was my brother's girlfriend. Like,
That's fantastic. That's so funny.
just like very easy to fit in
Right.
my sense. But you complete opposite with you. You've got to make your mark.
Right. And, I guess as a compliment to Ruthie, she's been like wonderful and like a willing participant. She came in and wanted to kind of joust with the madness that goes on within these walls. So, but it is funny. I'll say this about the wedding planning experience, and the only view I have of it is watching my brother, and then my takeaway is how much it's not about what you're, and it's a lot like when we talk about relationships. It's not like the thing, it's like the greater thing. A lot of these things become about who you are, like my brother came, it's not, my brother came in with a plan. He's going to get engaged at this bench where they had their first date. It was a COVID first date. And then he's going to come meet the whole family at a restaurant. And then the first restaurant he chose was like a steak place. And my dad and I were like, nah, that ain't going to fly. Steak place.
It's not the Freed way.
Well, that's kind of what it became for my dad. My dad was like, we're not, he was just like very much like, this isn't who we are, and I'm like, you don't have to make it that deep, but that's what every kind of wedding thing becomes, I think, because then my brother, for him, and to go back to like, it's the only thing the guy has to plan. For my brother, he's going, you get treated like, when the whole thing was done, like all her friends or, they're like, you did good, kid. You did good. They treat you like you're a dog who didn't make in the house. Like you're just like you, and when you say you did good, kid, to the guy, that is insinuating someone has done bad. What you're saying when you say you did good, guy, and it's not a high bar for the men. I'm not saying it's a difficult thing,
Right.
But it is this weird thing of like, and that's what got him stressed out, and it became a family argument about where we'd have this dinner.
It's the most. It definitely has it's the biggest thing that the groom gets, good or bad, known for. And here's the other thing: it's like when you get engaged, the next month of your life is spent telling that engagement. Oh, you're engaged.
Right.
How did he do it? Let me see the ring. It's like basically
Right.
you get like an assessment. From
Right.
every single, like even like, and more than any other thing in your entire life, you bought a house. No one's like, let me see the pictures. Where did, how many bedrooms?
Right.
Like that's if you
And
it's-
did you plan this right? Did you
Right.
plan the house right? Did you do the mortgage correctly? Like people don't even get in the weeds with engagements. They're like,
Oh yeah, I want to know everything. Yeah.
everything. So, I think he did a great job, but at the same time, like, even here's another thing. I'll give you a small little tidbit. I posted that video that I told you about. Mm-hmm. I taped Ruthie coming in and getting surprised by all her friends and family. And she had this big dramatic moment, which was hilarious, where she like literally crumbles to the ground. And I'm like, woman down, fiance down, like I'm making fun of it. So I posted this video, which was a very sweet video. I put it on TikTok, and there were commenters because my mom wore white to, and it's like she wore white to the surprise after the proposal. Like
Right.
she wasn't in a bride's gown. She wasn't
in a dress.
No,
She wore like a white top, right?
Right, or in a white skirt or cream skirt. I wouldn't
Sure.
even go. Whatever. Not to get down the road of ridiculous, but and it's interesting. There were commenters on TikTok, and this is like TikTok has lost a lot of credibility from me. This is I see the commenters and they can be fun and whatever. Like, this is the most fun and innocent video that's ever been made. And to say, oh, mom wearing white on the engagement, you're like, so you came here to basically, to go back to my theory on weddings where it's about what it says about you. They came in to say, well, I would never be that type of person to take over your engagement because I would never wear white. And it's like,
that's what they think they're saying, right? What they're actually saying is like, I'm a fucking loser who would care if someone wore white to my engagement proposal celebration. Like, to me, that's the lamest part of it, is the fact that someone, like, you would care if someone did it at you. Like, if your mother-in-law wore a white like top to the proposal dinner after, like, who does everyone thinks she's the bride? Like, I don't think so. Is that what you're worried about?
Right. What are you trying? I don't know. It just was like, what are you trying to do here? Like,
the bridal community. The bridal. This is why I hosted brides. I had a good time, but I also noticed brides are not your regular Betches community. The Betches bridal community does not fuck around. They don't think it's quite as funny.
Right. Nothing's funny. Yes. Nothing's fun. Nothing's funny. Everything. And I don't know. It got me to thinking of, like, remember we did a red flag deal breaker? Or I think we did an email about a woman who had a big TikTok following, and how the guy kind of backed away because he was like, I don't really like this.
Yeah.
I'm like more towards that guy than not at this point. I had a couple TikToks that have like taken off the last few days, and the type of like what people are looking for to do on there and to like slam dunk on people. It's not a man's world. I really do believe it is not. It is in that high school cafeteria, like, let's create division teams world of let's make sure we make someone evil and embarrass the fuck out of them world. And I'm like, if I was like, oh, met someone on Hinge, and then I saw that like she's doing get readies with me to get ready for her date with me, I'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah. That checks out to me, that like that's the TikTok, because that's kind of the TikTok demo is like closer to that high school college age. And I think that that's sort of like gets views and that gets likes, and I can see that. I mean, I don't really go on TikTok that often, but when I do, I'm like, I can't be here anymore.
Right. Well, I'm on it more now because I did well. You know, it's like that draw of the likes and attention, you know, so I open it more.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, and I feel myself feeling icky and not great. So I can understand, like, and some of the TikTok people I follow, they are always arguing with someone, and I'm like, now I kind of understand why.
You could be part of that TikTok
please.
Psycho crazy people. You could be there.
I'm asking you, Jordana, give me an intervention if I ever end up there.
I'll have your whole family,
that's
future
right.
sister-in-law, I'll have everyone on here. I had one more question about the engagement, and then we'll jump right into the show.
Jump right,
as they say. Did it feel, because there's a thing, and I don't think it's a made-up thing. I think a lot of people feel it. If there's an older sister and her younger sister gets engaged before her, it can feel quite bad.
Interesting.
Is there any this. and you are the elder brother. I'm wondering if this is solely a female phenomenon, or is it like it's like a trope almost, like the younger sister gets engaged before you.
Right. But this would be in a movie about someone mad at their
I think there was a movie.
Life.
It was called like 27 Dresses, which is like basically about that whole concept.
It was, you know, first of all, couldn't be happier for them.
Of course.
First of all, it's not I felt no ounce of jealousy, no ounce of anger, resentment, not even close to that. So I guess it isn't a thing for me, and I've proclaimed that I'm 10% away from the guy you're dating. I don't think it's a thing for a lot of guys. I will say that seeing how, of course, my brother is, I guess that I don't even know if that's a way to describe someone. How of course he is. Like, of course we're getting engaged.
Sure. Right.
He's so sure. Made me like, oh, that is the his vibe is what I want.
Okay.
I would he became inspirational to me. Yes. And I do, I do look up to my younger brother and a lot of the ways he is and how he operates and who he is as a person. So it was nice to see that, like, someone who's so much like me and that I love so much, it was so easy for him, so that you go, oh, maybe one day it'll be easy for me.
You feel hopeful.
Because, right. And I guess hopeful became and also, like, I said this on a podcast where I talked about the engagement, where it's like, I've always kind of, I could understand why my brother was getting so annoying to deal with during this thing, because it's like, as just by nature of being the older brother, I've had the feet in the sand he could follow, or the feet in the snow. Like I've always done things first. This is the first thing he's done first. So he was like, I think a little bit more straight. You didn't have me being like, I wouldn't do that. I'd go that way. Like, I couldn't really give really personal, like, from experience advice. So it was,
but it's also nice that he cares so much. He's like, he really,
of course.
Yes, I'm saying, like, that's great.
Well,
he really wanted to make it nice, unlike that listener who wrote in about her boyfriend just tossing her the keys to the house.
There you go, bitch. But I will say it's kind of nice for me. It's a little bit like, we talked on oversharing, and we had a great time, like, opening up on oversharing. I overshared.
That episode did so well. People loved that episode. Okay. Thank you so much again for coming on.
I had a blast. I did have a little bit of feeling like, ugh, did I say too much? But it is nice, a little bit of a relief to have the feet in the snow in front of me for a change. And I think maybe I need that a little bit. So with my dating life. And so that, I guess that's my opening up, my feeling on that.
I think that's great. And it does, to me, it resonates with me as a thing that I've heard other men say, especially when they're, a lot of the times you see this where men are in a relationship and they have a friend or a brother or someone else in their life that they're close to, and the other person's like, I've heard this from a man before, like, I had dinner with a friend and he was so excited to propose to his girlfriend.
Right.
Like, so sure, so excited. So, and I think for a man, sometimes if you're with someone and you don't feel that moves you in a direction. And I think that that's a very big thing for men, probably because, like, it's hard to tell, is this right? Is this not right? And I assume then when you see someone who's like, you're like, oh, of course, like, I know 100%. I don't have that feeling. You're like, okay, so you do know when you know.
Right. And totally. And especially because older men aren't exactly, like, glowing about marriage. Like, they're just not telling you how awesome it is. That's just not a conversation men have. It's, like, literally they'll come up to you like, what's it like out there when you're single? And you're like, okay, fucking chill out, like, you're making me depressed, man. So yeah, it does feel like it's a part of that Sex and the City thing you were talking about with the cab light on. Like, I do think a part of what turns it on is seeing that angle.
Right. Seeing it, how people be, like, super excited and into it. So that's great. Congrats to...
Thank you.
Is it Harrison or Harry?
He's Harrison, but I call it Harry. We had a big... have I told that story here before?
Yes, you told him to go by...
He tried to go by Harrison. I said no go on that.
Yes.
I said that's a big mistake. Yeah, so Harry and Ruthie, they're like an 80-year-old couple.
Love it. Oh, yeah, they are. That's funny. Maybe that'll be the theme of their wedding.
Right. Golden oldies.
I'm excited to hear more stories as the wedding planning continues, because they're always...
Oh, I have so many. There's many I can't tell yet.
Let them work through them, and then you'll spill all the deets.
What are we talking about today, Jordana? And is there anything else going on in your life? I'm sorry, I feel like I've taken all the oxygen.
No, you had a big family moment. I've had none. But yeah, I've got a benefits taping on Friday, so I'll spill all the tea there.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. All right, let's get into it. I will read the first email.
Go for it.
Hi, J&J. I just wanted to get your take on this issue, as it is something I think about often and maybe something Jared might be able to relate to. I'm 35 years old and I've been dating my boyfriend for a year. When we met on an app, I liked him off the bat and was attracted to him, but was convinced it wouldn't be a long-term thing. In fact, I had anxiety about continuing to date him when I knew in my gut this wasn't it. This isn't a story of I didn't like him and he convinced me. I did like him. I liked hanging out with him and was attracted to him and wanted to see him. He was just very different from me and didn't seamlessly fit into my life. We had different backgrounds, different hobbies, found different memes/jokes funny, and sometimes conversations stalled. It wasn't one of those things where we just clicked and could talk for hours right away. But I liked him for many reasons: fun, attractive, goofy, kind, smart, etc., and was into him, so we just kept hanging out. Now, a year later, I'm so in love with him and really happy. We talk about our future all the time. And while I don't know what will happen, I do think we are an incredible match. I'm so happy I kept dating him despite my initial doubts. I think I needed time to grow together and get more common ground and bring each other in on each other's lives. When we met, I was 34 and I had a lot of my habits/finances/travel/friends/humor/life in a settled, comfortable place, and he did too, in a place that was different from mine. We had to undo some of our habits independently and make the effort to grow together consciously, which I don't feel you need to do as much when you meet when you're 24 and your life isn't as settled. I feel like you always hear these stories of people meeting in their mid to late 30s and getting in the fast lane, often driven by, I'm sure, aging fertility and a rush to catch up with their peers. But people don't really talk about how it might actually take longer to fall in love in your 30s because you've had so much time to grow separately. And there's often a bit more work that needs to be done to undo your single life and make room for them. What do you guys think? Am I taking my own experience and making a general conclusion that isn't relatable? Or is there something to having to be more patient to click in your 30s? What do you think?
I think this is a really good email. I related a lot to it, as they assumed. I do think this is like the hard part about dating in your 30s. Like, I do think this is the difficult thing. You got taste, you're more aware of yourself, of the things you like, the things you don't like, and it's the thing that gets you so frustrated, because you do question yourself. You go, I don't know, I gotta push through this. I know that annoys me, but they're a good person and they're trying to, and you have to get over your own mental humps in a way that is annoying. I think this is the frustrating part, because they are right. Like, I do things a certain way. Jared Freed Industries operates a certain way, and if we brought in a new CEO or chief of penis, like I'm gonna
CPO.
have to, CPO, chief penis officer. I'm gonna have to make some changes that are uncomfortable because you've already done things a certain way. Jordana, you met Mike not at 22. There's got to be things. Do you relate to this?
I relate in a different way. I think when the older you get, there's these two kind of opposing forces where it's like, one, you're kind of like more comfortable, like you said, in your own way, and you're like happy enough in the way you're doing things on your own. But then there's the other side where, and then there's also something that goes along with that of like, oh, I didn't like wait this long to like be with someone who spells your wrong. Like, it's almost like in some ways you can become pickier, or
oh my God,
can stay, or like you said, because you're so comfortable, or because you're kind of like, well, I waited this long, I'm not just going to take someone who said that annoying thing at dinner. Like, right, I'm not going to settle for that. But I think it depends. I think it's totally dependent on like what your dating setbacks are. Like for me, I think I met Mike later because if I met him earlier, I wouldn't have been as interested in him. I think I was much more interested in like a gamified version of dating that wasn't about like being my real self and looking for my own real standards. And then I think when I got older, I was I valued different things more.
Right.
But also, when I met him, I wasn't like immediately like, I didn't feel that like intense kind of like fucked up spark thing that I'd felt with other people, where I was like, I have no idea if this guy likes me or not, and so I'm more attracted.
Right. Well, I guess that works into it too. Like, I guess like your past dating stuff works into it in two different ways. Like, you were like, I can't do this thing that I've been doing with other guys.
Right. That's my past. That's my pattern.
Right. And I think for me personally, and I think it's like this, like, I do have this sense of like, I don't want to do that thing again. Like I think those dating, I hate the word trauma because I don't want to use a word that's too much for, dating,
I mean, you can use the word trauma and acknowledge that trauma is a spectrum.
It's a real thing.
Right.
Yeah, there are real traumas, but like the idea of like these dating experiences, I'll say, that went negatively.
Right. Negative dating experiences.
Negative dating. Thank you. The negative dating experience that you go, I mean, you start to hold back from even going forward because you don't want to have those experiences again, but you have to go forward in order to see if this can work out. So you push through sometimes. You're like, and then sometimes you push through and you go, I'm doing it again.
Right.
I gotta end this again. Look what I did.
Well, I think that happens no matter like what your dating issue is. Like you're saying, like you're kind of like, I have to push through. Like I know this is my pattern. I'm pushing through. And I think that's really when you see a change in your dating life. Like for me, it was like, okay, this isn't the most exhilarating feeling that I've ever had. And I think that's a thing where if you deal with a lot of dating anxiety and then you find someone who's stable, you're like, well, this feels kind of boring. Like, right. I know that they're going to call me. Like, that's like not that exciting. And then like maybe your initial urge is like, oh, am I not that into this? But then like you said, if you like stick around and you like fight that urge for like whatever your unhealthy coping mechanism is for that thing, which is probably, oh, let me seek out the person who like treats me shittier because they're more exciting.
Right.
Or mysterious.
Right.
Then like you said, it like the progress comes from like pushing through that uncomfortable feeling of like, I need to immediately get out of this.
I'll give you an example. This just happened. I get a DM from a mom. And this is not me inviting DMs, okay? This is not me inviting DMs. Okay. I got a DM from a mom. Hi, I'm a mom. She explains, and I'm a huge fan, and I keep thinking, and I know this is weird, and I know this is crazy. I keep thinking you should meet my daughter. Okay. And I read the message, and I went, this is sweet and funny.
Did she send pictures?
No. So I was in the car on the way to the engagement, and I showed it to my parents. I go, look at this. How crazy is this? And I read the message to them thing. I don't know why. I just thought it was funny, and I knew that they would think it was funny too.
That's sweet.
My parents were immediately like, go out with her. And I was like, no, I'm not going out with her. Come on. And they were like, just look at how nice this mom is. And I was like, I said to them, I get a lot of messages like this, like not to, let hey, I'm okay without Mama Bear. And I go, I don't even know where this person lives or how old. They go, you should do this. This is, look how nice this person. Like, it is funny that it's like from the mouth of babes. Like they have no thing in their head.
Right.
They have no blockade. And I go, why? I didn't take it seriously. I saw the message. I was like, well, this is a funny one.
If they saw every message you got, they might also take it less seriously.
Right. Yeah. And they were like, the mom did the Jewish mother thing. So then I went so I liked it. I said, thank you for the nice messages. And I followed the mom.
Okay.
To see who we're dealing with.
She didn't send pictures? I hate when people don't send pictures.
I know. You got to send pictures if you're going to try and fix someone up because
it
becomes this. Because I'm not saying this because I'm looking to get all these pictures. I'm saying this for your own good.
Put in your folder.
Okay? Right. I don't.
No, I'm saying this. Forget you getting people for pictures. People like, I get DM'd, not like every day, but occasionally I'll get DM'd. I would love for you to set me up with Jared. I'd love for you to if you're sending me a DM and you don't send any pictures, and your profile is private, then like you just get ignored because like I'm not going to ask you for pictures. It's like when someone asks for a resume and a cover letter, and you only send the cover letter and you don't send the resume. Is the person gonna email you and say, could you send the resume? It's like, no, I'm just going to ignore you and move on to the next application.
I think a lot of people do that because they forget. Like I live by one motto: Jared, you're not that great. So I think some people are in their moment, star their own movie moment, and they're like, me being bold means that I've done the job. And being bold alone is not the full job. You're not, good for you. You get to pat yourself on the back, but you're going to go through either the pain of having someone go, let me check you out. Like, that's how it feels when you get no pictures and you go through with it. And I've made the mistake. You go, let me see what you're looking like. And now you're that douche that's
why you can't, right. You can't ask for them either. Someone's just got to send it.
So but it is interesting when I heard my parents just like totally nothing. They were like, yes. And why wouldn't you? It's one drink. Nice mom. And you go, man, I wish I had a little of that. And I think what you do when you're single and you're going out and you get older, you have to start like taking a little bit of the positivity medicine. You got to drink the Kool-Aid, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that I relate to with this person because they're like, it doesn't have it all, but I like them and I'm having fun. We'll keep pushing through. That our humor is kind of like, I don't know about this guy's humor, but now I like him for that humor.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. I think that's like the beauty of like giving things a chance, which is like maybe that was her issue previously in dating, is that she like made kind of immediate judgments.
Right.
And I don't know. I think you often hear of people who are, like you said, like in their 30s and then they meet someone and then they're engaged within a year.
Right.
Because maybe their issue wasn't about that. Maybe their issue was, I just didn't feel like I could see the whole thing. And now I know what that feels. I never felt like this at all before. Now I feel like this. And so I'm just going to like immediately play out all my cards.
Right. And it's a weird cocktail of what makes you comfortable. It's almost like, oh, I'm so comfortable with what I know and don't know about myself that I'm okay being uncomfortable with this person, to figure it out.
Yeah. And that's a thing that you have to push through, especially because the more you practice something, the more comfortable it becomes, the more ingrained it becomes. If you're single for a while, the more ingrained it becomes, the more used to your own way it becomes.
Right. How will I sit on the toilet without a dating app if I go forward with this person? Like, What will I do during those poops?
Yeah, you have to push through that fear. No pun intended. Right. No pun intended.
Keep sending your awkward sex, uup@betches.com. Are you ready, Jordana?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
And if you're listening now and you're in the Toledo, Ohio area, there's about 1,000 tickets available for my shows. JaredFreed.com. Please come. I'm coming to Europe. Check out my website. Also, the people of Toronto. Jordana, I think we got to do a live view up in Toronto again.
I've heard, yeah.
What a blast. Unbelievable. What a reception. The messages were beautiful and heartwarming and embarrassing.
Canadians are so nice. Yeah.
Their reputation is there for a reason. I'm a big fan of the pod. After listening to many awkward sex stories, I have mustered up the courage to share my own story. When I was in college, there was a small hookah bar I would visit quite regularly. It got to the point that I sort of became a regular customer, knew most of the staff. There was always this one cute guy who would serve me in a backwards baseball cap. Naturally, I swooned, and I developed a bit of a crush on him. Whenever I'd come by, I'd try to gauge if the feeling was mutual, but he always played it cool. So professional of him, I would tell myself, LOL. Maybe she was half, trying to let him know, like those DMs. One night I was there, I finally resolved to make a move. When I got up and went up to him to ask for the check, making sure to lean into him a bit, I quickly added, I just wanted you to know that I've always found you really attractive. I leaned back to wait for his response, and he almost immediately grabbed my hand, led me out the back to the private employee parking lot where we proceeded to make out on the hood of his coworker's car.
Oh, wow. The private employee parking lot.
Wow.
Exclusive.
This guy, this is for real. I'd visited the hookah bar a few times after that when I finally decided I was going to let him fuck me.
How many times can you go to a hookah bar?
Yeah, that's not my hang.
I mean, it must be. I guess it must. I've been to one many times, but not like it's like once every 2 years or something. If like
right,
it's not like I'm going for lunch. I don't know.
Little hookah lunch.
I don't know. To me, it's almost like it feels like the frequency in which you'd maybe go to like a strip club, like just like not
right
not in such like a frequent casual way she seems to be going. She's talking about like it's a coffee shop.
Right. When people tell me let's go to a hookah bar, I'm like, what? I have a weird response. And then anytime I've been to one, they always feel like they were started like with a good idea in mind, and then they just stop taking care of it. Like it just like everything's a little bit too lived in. Yeah,
they covered it up with some like I don't know, music, or there's always like a certain vibe, which is, it's good for like a certain specific kind of moment. But I just find it so interesting that she's in there all the time.
Right. This is her cheers.
Right.
I'd visit the hookah bar a few more times after that when I finally decided I was going to let him fuck me. That sentence, I don't know if I
it's not the most PC of phrasing, but
let him fuck me. Okay. I showed up in
very empowering.
Yeah, right. I showed up in a bodycon dress, LOL. What's a bodycon dress?
A bodycon dress is like a tight, like a very tight dress that like you could see your whole, like it shows the outlines of your body.
Okay.
Because it is so tight.
And my biggest push-up bra, bringing my 34 Bs closer to God. He's a poet. And asked him what he was doing after his shift and if he wanted to hang out. After he closed up, we walked 15 minutes down the road towards his house. It was dark. The city was quiet, but I remember seeing big rats and thinking about how eerie everything felt. When we got into his house, it was totally dark and I couldn't see shit. I remember looking on the floor and being able to see a really dirty carpet with loose change and dirt on the rug. My hookah hubby made his way across the kitchen and lured me. The kitchen is this way. I stumbled towards the sound of his voice in my Forever 21 gladiator heels. When I got in his bedroom, I decided to assess what we were working with. No bed frame, no fitted sheets on the bed, just loose blankets and a pillow. I remember thinking, men are so funny.
Okay.
We started hooking up, but after some time, I decided our styles weren't gelling together that well, and I didn't want to have sex with him after all. Things naturally fizzled out, and I nuzzled against his body into the crook of his armpit. I sort of snuggled against him and let out a very satisfied exhale. So I began, "This is your place," I said as I looked up at the ceiling. He responded, "No, it's not." The world stopped spinning for a second. Then whose fucking unmade bed are we on? He proceeded to explain that his roommate was having family sleepover and he didn't want to take me there, so he asked his coworker if he could borrow his place for the night. I thought about how he took me to someone else's house and let me think it was his, and I got the biggest ick ever. So after that, I never spoke to him again, LOL. Signed, Hookah House is this?
That's a good sign off.
Great sign off. What do you think?
Yeah, this was kind of a seedy overall visual I got for every aspect of this whole experience.
Right. It didn't feel good to read this.
No, it didn't feel good to hear you read it either. I'd call this one "Don't fuck the guy that works at the hookah place."
To put it mildly.
That's my name. Yes.
Hookah's House is this is really good.
That is a very good sign off.
Right. Hookah sheets are these. Hookah
Who am I doing with my life? Or that's really more of a what? That's more of a what than a hookah should stop. Hookah should stop hanging out at the hookah bar.
Right. Hookah pays the rent. Borrowed bachelor pad. Here are Maddie's ideas. Borrowed bachelor pad. Hookah up.
Oh,
smoke and mirrors.
Hookah up. I like it. It's funny.
Hookah up is good. I don't know. It is funny the lengths. Like men, if someone's like, I'm hooking up, man. Men will just like go to bat for you. Like the fact that someone at the place is like, yeah, take my place.
Right.
That's even weird.
That's weird too. The fact that he asked, the fact that he took that place, the fact that they didn't really even have sex, and then they're just lying. She's like, and then that's the best visual for the whole thing. It's like you kind of tried to have sex. She didn't really give details, but it sounds like it just like wasn't working out. And then she's like, so this is your place, huh?
Right. I mean, yeah. And I mean, that is something he should say before they get in there. I mean,
he probably thought it didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
Why do you feel like he needs to say it?
I don't know. I just want to know where I am. I feel like if I was, I kept thinking like if a woman just brought me to a home and I was like, wait, this isn't your place. Like, what could I trust them about? Like, if they've been able to lie to me or leave out things in a way that I couldn't figure out, then this person now knows how to. I'm just like they're a master manipulator almost.
I'm just getting the feeling like trust isn't like a hallmark of this relationship. Right. that we're looking at here. But yeah, I don't think this has long-term potential.
She takes off his backwards hat and she's like, "You're bald? What?" You know, like it's like it's like this isn't my place and I'm sorry.
You know, I respect her. I respect her proactivity.
Oh, absolutely. Like you're, you know, and you know, you have to assume. I would assume he doesn't have an apartment at all. Like the roommate story, I don't even believe. Like you made out in the parking lot the first time. It's not like he was like, "Hey, come home with me." Like there's kind of a natural progression of things to be like, "Hey, you want to go home?" Like he never did that.
Does he have a car? Because it sounds like he made out on the friend's car. I don't know. He's a no for me.
It's a deal breaker. Okay, let's do another email.
All right. Hi, J&J, longtime listener and a huge fan of the pod. Getting into it, I recently went to Mexico for a vacation. It was not a party trip. More so a family trip, as I went to visit some relatives for the first time. I went alone and without my boyfriend of 5 years. Before leaving on the trip, my boyfriend and I had a few discussions on how I feel he is getting too comfortable. He is very respectful and treats me well, but has made less effort this past year once we moved in together, less romantic gestures and date nights. Things have just felt very stagnant. Anyway, my cousin in Mexico invited me out to a club for one night. However, I was pretty anxious as I am not a fluent Spanish speaker, but she convinced me. She invited many of her friends who don't speak English, but they tried their best, which was nice, but then someone in her group walked into the club that I could not keep my eyes off of. He was my type to a T. I got introduced to him and she said, "This guy is from the US too." So we chatted and discussed where we were from. Turns out he lives in my state, but about 6 hours north. For a couple of hours into the night, we just exchanged smiles from across the room as we were both getting pretty trashed. Fun. Eventually, we ended up next to each other and chatting again, and drunk me found myself dancing with him. I did let him know I had a boyfriend and it would obviously just be a dance and that's it. In the whole 5 years of my relationship, I have never danced with a different guy, even on girls' nights. This was the very first time I ever felt temptation. Dancing to Spanish hip-hop can get pretty sexual since your ass is pretty much grinding the guy's dick the whole time. From experience with my boyfriend...
I'm sure that's how the people of Spain describe it.
Yes.
The people of Mexico is like, "Oh, you got to do one of our dances where we rub on the dick of the man." Yeah.
Just get right on there. From experience with my boyfriend, and now this guy, boners do happen, and you can feel them, LOL. A couple of times he kissed the back of my neck and was telling me how I had such a nice body. Okay. Here's my issue. I loved it. I love the attention. I love the compliments. There was no makeouts, but I can't say I didn't want to and wouldn't have if I was single. Drunk me was convincing myself that if the roles were reversed, my boyfriend probably would have danced with another girl. I know this all depends on preferences and boundaries in our own relationship, but what do you think? Is dancing with another person cheating? Should I take this one to the grave? Signed, what happens in Mexico stays in Mexico.
It's so interesting, this email. Like, the question she has at the end is like, that's the big M. Night Shyamalan surprise.
Is the question of, is this cheating? Which is like,
right.
I was thinking the same
cheating,
thing.
Right. It's secondary to like
the bigger issue.
There's a huge issue here.
Yeah.
And she does a lot of qualifying statements to kind of like put herself. It's interesting. We talked about TikTok earlier, and TikTok seemingly to me lives in the land of who's good and who's evil. It lives in a very punch up, punch down world with no context and no nuance, and I'm just going to run to one side of the line or the other. And she does so many qualifying statements to make sure that we can make a decision of cheating or not cheating, and then she totally loses what she should maybe be looking at, which is, I need to end my relationship with my boyfriend.
Yes. She doesn't see, right. I totally agree. She's focusing on the wrong thing of like, am I good or am I bad? Did I do the right thing or the wrong thing? Is this, what does this say about me? When it's much more to me, like exactly what you're saying is like a symbol of that all is not well in this relationship.
No. And like to set up, like this is very Reddit to me. Have you ever read those Reddit like stories that they put?
Like the am I the asshole kind of things?
Am I the asshole? Yes.
Okay.
And the am I the asshole stories on Reddit, they all seem fake to me because they live in this like, they're almost all cliches. They're like, you know, am I the asshole because I didn't invite my mother-in-law to this party? And the mother-in-law is always the biggest asshole in the world. They explain the mother in a way that you go, no mother exists like this. They explain it like, to me, it's nerd porn. You know, losers want to believe the whole world is against them and want to tell you the story that way. So, you know, the bullies in high school, the bullies, you know, like I'm sure, and this isn't to say bullying doesn't happen, but this land of black and white where, you know, so the way this emailer kind of makes this story work, they start with, my boyfriend hasn't been giving me what I need. So I was feeling so down that I went to Mexico and my perfect type is there. Mm-hmm. So now boyfriend doesn't give me what I need. We can all understand that. Go to Mexico, my perfect type, and he's 6 hours away. So it's almost giving her permission, like we could maybe date, you know? Right. And then it goes into how she loved the attention, the compliments that she wasn't getting from the boyfriend. So, and there's no makeouts, but if I were single, and then it ends with, if the roles were reversed, and my boyfriend would have, he would do the same. And it's like, okay, to me, you didn't cheat. Good for you. But you're still in a relationship that you don't like.
Yes.
So what would you rather? You know,
that's the bigger point. Like, to me, right. And it's kind of like, even if you technically didn't do anything wrong, it's not about, again, wrong or right. It's like, what are you missing from this relationship? What is driving you to do this? What made you want to do this? And like, is that salvageable? Is that something you can work on with this boyfriend? To me, if I would go home and I would tell him, and I would say, this is what happened. This is why I don't think I did the right thing or the wrong thing, but this is how I felt when I got this attention. And this is something I'd like to work on with you, or this is something I wouldn't like to work on with you. And I think that whatever we had here isn't kind of going away.
I agree with you. And here's something I'll say to the listener. And sometimes I need this said to myself, as we learned on oversharing, and I'll give them this gift, so to speak. And you can agree or disagree with me, please. I would say to this person, you're not a bad person for going to Mexico and dating against someone's boner and realizing this is something you may want more than what you have.
Yes.
So, right? Like, To me, like, that's where they're like holding themselves back. Like, you're not a bad person for being presented with a scenario that made you feel differently about the one you're currently in.
Right. Or exacerbated the way you already felt.
Right.
Because she's
absolutely.
Like, I mean, she's the one saying I felt like that before. So the question again, I think when you harp on this, am I moral or am I immoral? Am I right or am I wrong? Am I like, you are what you are. And
right.
like, that's up to you and your boyfriend to decide that that's right or wrong. But the much bigger question, again, which I find it odd that she's not even answering, is like, what do I do about the way that I feel?
Right. I do think the moral purity conversation that she's having is in the way of that. Like, and it's almost like if we were like, it wasn't cheating, she might go, oh, I'm a good person now, and I don't have to tell him. And like, I just think this only gets worse. Like,
right.
Like,
well, that's the whole thing. It's like she's like, oh, maybe I don't have to say anything because it wasn't cheating, or I should just it wasn't cheating, and I shouldn't say anything because it was cheating.
Right. Almost the cheating or no cheating thing lets her off the hook from having a personal conversation with herself that's a lot more difficult than A or B.
Right. Because that's a question of, am I happy with what I have? Do I feel good about my relationship enough to stay in it and work through it with this person? Is a much more difficult question, like you said, than, well, my neck got kissed, so am I cheating or not?
Right.
It's a much harder
question.
question.
Like a kiss in the neck.
One seems like a hard. It seems like it would be a harder question. Is this cheating? It's not, but that's the easy part.
Right. That's the no. There's no moving out of the house that you guys just moved into with. Am I cheating? Am I not?
Right. It's only like the conversations that come after that. So have those conversations. Right. Let us know how they go.
You ready to play some games?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. J&J, love the pod. Jared, I loved you in Virginia Beach. Thank you. I have a red flag deal. I'm having trouble speaking. I have a red flag deal breaker for you all. I had been in the early stages of talking to a guy from my gym, and we had been on one dinner date. We both work out after work during the week, so the time to schedule a formal date on a weeknight was slim, so we agreed to hang at his apartment one night after the gym. I get there expecting that this could possibly lead to something physically intimate or just another chance to get to know him deeper and chat since our first date. He keeps checking his phone and casually mentions, man, I keep missing this guy. I asked him who he was talking about, and he just replied, my barber. Not understanding what the big deal was, I asked him what he meant. He responds, my barber should be here soon to cut my hair and beard. This totally took me aback. He didn't warn me whatsoever before I came that he also had plans with his barber. And the thought of trying to get to know a guy I barely know while his barber shaves his beard in his living room sounded so uncomfortable to me. So can you imagine me asking about his childhood while a third party strokes his beard hair? Anyway, there were many other issues of compatibility that caused me to decide that I was going to head home and not wait around for his mobile groomer, including a sexually hyperactive wiener dog and a long rant about how he mouthed off to a policeman the other day. But I'm curious, without the other red flags, if the guy invited his barber on your second date, would that be a red flag or a deal breaker for you? Second date, third wheel. What do you think, Jordana?
Deal breaker.
Right.
We're gonna try to multitask. It's like, oh, we're going to dinner. It's our second date. Let me just stop by and drop off my dry cleaning. We're gonna stop by my house first, and then we're gonna no,
right,
out.
Right.
What about you? Just getting a haircut while you're over.
Just come over. I'm getting my new coloring. It's interesting from my end. When I do shows at night, sometimes it feels like I never want to make someone. I try to not make someone feel like they're being fit in.
Yeah, that's respectful.
So, well, and sometimes I fail at that. Sometimes I'm like, you go, or I feel like I fail at that because I'll go, okay, let's get together at 7. I have a show at 10. To me, 7 to 9 is a pretty good first date.
No, this is like you making the first date, them coming to see you at your show because you're working.
Right. Right.
That's different.
Come to my show.
Yeah. That's and
Yeah,
you
no,
call
I
that
know
a
this
date.
is
Yeah.
This is different. Yeah, don't come to my house and then all of a sudden my accountant comes over and goes
Right.
over debits and credits. Yeah.
Exactly. Or they come to your house and then you're going over the outlines for the show.
Right.
Together.
No, yeah, this is a deal breaker. Like and also, you know what's more of a deal breaker? The idea, like, I do think if someone's like, well, I have to do the gym after work every night, like,
Right.
I don't need to be involved with you. Listen, and I'm saying this as someone who loves a schedule, loves having, like, you know, things in place and knowing when I have to be somewhere, where I have to be. But, like, I don't need to hear about these things on date one. That, well, I don't know, maybe I'll make it happen because I got the gym every night and we can't do it. If you can't do a second date now, you're never going to do a second date.
Yeah. This guy doesn't care about being on a date with you.
No.
Otherwise, he wouldn't get a fucking haircut while he's talking to you, while you're there.
Well, he would have gotten a haircut to see you.
Yeah, before that.
Right.
Wouldn't make
Right,
you watch.
he would have cared how he
wouldn't make you-
looked.
Wouldn't make you watch how the meat is made.
Right.
No.
Yeah. Let's do another.
All right. Red flag or deal breaker. He mentions all the dates he has lined up before we even meet. I appreciate his honesty, but he could have been vague and still gotten his point across. Do you want to read his message, starting with definitely an insult?
I'll be him, you be her. You ready?
Okay. Yeah.
I was thinking more, that one there is a cunt, ain't she? In a British accent, but that works too.
Ha 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 ha. Are you using cunt as an insult or term of endearment?
Definitely an insult. I didn't know cunt could be used as a term of endearment. You're really cute, but I set up a...
Look at this. Look at this transition.
I mean, my God. He goes from cunt to she's cute. Cunt to cute. Definitely an insult. I didn't know cunt could be used as a term of endearment. You're really cute, but I set up a sledding thing with someone today and a couple of dates this weekend. I'm going to wait to see what my experience is like with those people before I spend time talking to anyone else for now. If you're still here and I come back in a couple weeks, I'll reach out then.
Good luck, soldiers. Stay safe out there. Oh my God. I hate all of this. First of all,
Yeah.
the fact that he uses cunt as an insult and says it casually in conversation on a dating app before you even meet someone, talking about how the way you speak to other people, that's a deal breaker. Before we even get into the fact that he's telling you about all the other people he's dating.
Right. I guess the only thing he did say a British accent. They do use that word there. So I don't know if this is coming from foggy London town, this email, but so it might be
Maybe.
more normalized there. But I'm with you. This conversation's off the rails already.
And then the sledding thing seems like also crazy to me. Like, why did you have to say the activity you were doing with the person? Like, you're telling me not only the date that you have another date, but what you're doing.
Right. This was like a less is more situation that he didn't opt for. Like, he could have just said, hey, you know, things are really busy right now. I don't even want to like exchange numbers because I don't even want to get down that road, but I would love to chat with you again if I come back on the app. I don't know. There's a better way to go about what he did, because I did walk away from reading this going, okay, I understand what he's saying, but he doesn't have to say it that way.
Right. There's such thing as being too honest. You could just say, hey, I'm probably going to actually take a break from dating. You don't have to tell the
Right.
truth. I'm going on another date. I'm going to see how that one date. So we're going
I got a
sledding.
sledding
We might get hot
thing.
cocoa after.
Right.
Like,
I'm like 3 weeks in with this chick. She sucked my dick last week. I think it might go
I'm
somewhere.
confused. It's like you're on again. I think people need to remember you're on a dating app. You don't owe anyone an explanation, and in fact, it's weird if you give too much information.
Right. This guy could have just said definitely an insult. I didn't know cunt could be used as a term of endearment. I think you're really cute. Maybe we could get some drinks sometime. Then she could write back and he could disappear.
Right.
Like, even that
Would've
would
been
be
fine.
okay.
Better than this.
Right. Then, yeah, we got a
Actually,
sledding
the
date.
visual of him sledding. I don't know.
I got 3 dates set up. Yeah. Let's do one more. You ready?
I'm ready.
This one is
Insane.
unbelievable. Okay.
I almost don't believe it.
If we didn't have a picture, I wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I've hesitated to write in because this was just so strange to me. I should have seen the signs before agreeing to the date. A few weeks ago, I matched with a guy, let's say Tim, on Bumble. We began chatting. The conversation was decent. We seemed to be looking for the same thing, and I gave him my number to continue chatting and setting up our first meeting. One day, the conversation moved into favorite foods, and the main reason we both matched, pizza. Can I just say, if the main reason you guys matched is pizza, maybe it wasn't enough to get off the app?
Potentially, yeah.
He mentioned all his
Low
favorite
bar.
types of... It's a low bar. He mentioned all his favorite types of pizza, the best places to get different styles of pizza, and his overall top choice of pizza in the city.
Okay, actually, now reading that, I'm like, okay, it's not just like basic. He's like a pizza fucking enthusiast, clearly. He's
Pizza
not
is
like
a
a
passion.
casual pizza eater.
Yeah. Okay. We got Papa John over here.
Domino's.
Yeah, Demina. As a pizza lover myself, I took note of the places and gave him a few that I had tried and enjoyed. He also makes his own pizza, which I did not realize was so in-depth. ... He jokingly said he would teach me all about pizza, that he would have a course syllabus prepared so I would know what I was in for. Fast forward to our first meeting. We agreed to meet on a Sunday afternoon for drinks, as I already had plans for dinner, legitimately. We ordered our first round of drinks and started chatting about work and my dogs. Normal first date stuff. As we were ordering our second drinks, Tim reaches down to his jacket and says, I have something for you. Hands me the attached piece of paper. A front and back pizza making course syllabus that he will quote unquote teach. Yes, it was folded up like this, and yes, I was shocked. Then I saw my name in the syllabus. I scanned the rest of the document politely, but it was 2 pages of details. As I am trying to figure out what to do, he's like, he is like, did you think I would forget?
Oh my God.
I said, no, but this is intense. He said, I just thought you would really like to learn how to make pizza and have fun. At this point, he said he was going to use the restroom, which gave me time to scan the rest of the document and pointedly not sign the document. And ask myself, is this a red flag or deal breaker? Signed, not my pizza slice.
She sent over the document. Don't worry. Well, we're going to have to share it, right?
We got to share it.
We're going to have to share it on the Instagram.
Right.
This was crazy.
It's crazy.
This is insane.
Do you want me to read? I could go through.
Let's read it.
Okay. So it's titled, I don't know. He titled it like it was an actual class.
Yes. UNCC P1224 Introduction to Pizza Science and Perfection.
With Professor Blank. Winter 2022 to 2023. Sunday 4 to 6. Is that the time of their date?
I don't know.
I mean, that is in depth. I mean, this guy put a lot of time. And then he writes 4 to 6 week course, 12 credit hours. It's as if he had this ready to like revamp for new dates, though. Like
that was what I was thinking too. I don't think she's the first person to ever receive the pizza course. It's worked with someone.
Well, right. And the formatting, like just the formatting of it. Like, I don't know if I have this in my computer to do, but I guess there are pre-formatted Word documents that you could just plug into. This guy has a lot of free time at work. If I'm his boss, I am firing him.
Enough with the pizza syllabi.
Right. Syllabi. Course description. Oh, office hours appointment not needed. A lot. It's just too cute. Is
this too cheesy?
That was not. That was not. To me, okay, I'll read the course description. At Pizza University, we offer intensive pizza classes designed to guide restaurant owners, caterers, and other aspiring pizzioli to cultivate the absolute best pizza making practices. Students learn the theoretical as well as gain hands-on experience making the perfect dough, the secrets of the sauce, stretching techniques for forming the perfect crust, and all about ingredients. Our highly qualified instructors will provide the training you need to succeed in this competitive market.
This guy is
Jordana, what is going on here?
This guy is fucking his pizzas. It's a sexual thing. It has to be.
I mean, it has to have been. I mean, let's say mission learning opportunities.
We can't read this whole thing.
Jessica. I'm not going to read it, but it just Jessica. Her name is in here. Will be introduced to 14 types of flowers, from mainstream flowers to stone ground grains, kamut, ancient grains, whole wheat, soy, Manitoba, full body, organic, and semolina for more complex and trendier mixes. Now, he goes on and on. Do you think he took a pizza making class and this is what they wrote to him? Like, I mean, there is.
But
this
he
is
made
work.
He made it cheesier. Like, yeah, I mean, it must be. Maybe he must have adapted this from something, and it must have worked on someone. And he was like, "All right, like, this is what I'm the guy who does this." But even the end of it is so weird because it's like when you look at the course rules. It says attendance is mandatory for all 6 classes. No curves will be given. Must complete the final lab to receive credit. No refunds. All monies and time tendered will be considered non-refundable. Only 3 people allowed at your course graduation. All wine consumed will be free while supplies last. First come, first serve. What?
This is a class he took. He took a class because that's the only explanation for like monies. Like he copied and pasted a class thing that he did for fun. It has to be.
I would assume.
Because I mean, even the languaging of it is so professional that like he either has the most time in the world or
like this guy's like kind of a nerd, it sounds like.
Here's the thing. Red flag deal breaker. It's a deal break. Like, let's say it's your first anniversary and this is something like, to me, this is when we get into like, if you like him, you'd like it territory.
She doesn't even know him yet. This is their first date.
But this is my point. Like this this is something your parents would go, "Oh, look how hard they're trying." You know, like and you go, "No, there's context. It was a first date. My name's on this piece of paper. He has a printer apparently. Like who in the fucking world is printing out things?" Like
right. He's personalized it. Stalker.
Right. I have to sign something on date 1.
Yeah, this is the perfect example of like too much too soon.
Right, because if this is a 6-month anniversary gift that he came up with, you're going, "Oh my God, I've hit the jackpot. He listened to something I wanted to do. It's funny.
So
it's
cute.
A little bit
so
cute. Yeah, he took time, whatever. But I don't even think date 3 this would still be weird.
You don't think it would be weird? It'd be less weird. Every time you see each other,
right.
It's less weird.
Right.
First time you see each other after one discussion on the app, so weird. Too weird.
Right. And it's like, people always ask us about like scaring a guy away. This is the stuff that scares a woman away.
Well, anything that shows that you've invested too much into this relationship too soon is a turnoff for either party, I think.
Right, you're right.
Like,
right. And
in either way, either direction.
I mean, I'm turned off by this person and I wasn't even on the date. Like I'd be like, "Okay, it's too much. I got to get out of here."
Right. Well, it's just like this isn't appropriate for the level that we are at now.
No. We got to post this on the Instagram. I mean, this is wild.
If you're getting a printer out before date 2, do
you understand when I went to Toronto, I had to stop the Uber on the way there to stop at Kinko's so I could print out my letter of like why I'm going to Toronto for customs. Like, this is insane.
Jared, you can print at our office next time.
I'm going to take you up on that.
Just to let you know. That's where I do my printing.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, samesies now. Okay. Wow, we solved dating again, Jordana.
We did it. So proud of us. Enjoy the rest of Boca.
Thank you.
Great episode, and we'll see you on Sunday.
Boom.
Bye. The U Up podcast is produced by Sean Kilby, Maddie Paul, and Jorge Morales Pico. Editing by Jorge Morales Pico. Social media by Maddie Paul. Be sure to follow at u.up.podcast on Instagram and send us your emails to uup@betches.com.